Today's Talking Reds is brought to you by there is no better goal than the goal that confirms the victory. Liverpool went to Burnley, they were 2-1 up, having come back from 1-0 down. You already know this, you know the facts. Alisson makes a great save, tips it onto the post, somehow keeps it in, releases Daniel Sturridge releases Mo Salah releases Xherdan Shaqiri releases all the joy in the world. It's Neil Atkinson and Paul Cope, and that is the best goal in the world. And it's brilliant when you watch it unfold like that. I think obviously there's a lot to be said for the 20-yard drive, but when you get to go, Sturridge is in here, Salah's in here, Shaqiri's in here, that is the goal that you love.
Absolutely. Fantastic, yeah, and well described as well, if I may say.
It's almost like it's my job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, incredible. And again, starts with the keeper. So many keepers that just doesn't happen. This is one of my favourite things about footy, is the sliding doors stuff of how many times you don't see that happen because the ball just goes out.
Yeah.
At the other end of the pitch, just goes out. Whereas he goes, no, because if I keep it in, then watch this. And I know where those lads are already, watch. And yeah, there's so much about the goal, it's really good. Actually, the pass by Sturridge is fantastic. I've been critical of Salah lately because I think a lot of our attacks are breaking down with a Salah pass. Like his final balls being, it's not really been noticed or mentioned, I don't think, but I think the sort of one of the weakest parts of his game at the moment is his final ball, which seems strange for someone who scores so many goals. But that's where a lot of things are breaking down. So that pass is great as well. Perfect, right into the space for Shaqiri to run onto. And then Shaqiri knew the thing that James Milner also knew, which is Joe Hart can't dive to his left. And it really, really frustrated me that everybody else was shooting to his right.
Yeah.
Just stop doing that, lads. Everyone figured out years ago he can't dive to his left.
That way.
That's why he's not at Man City. Just shoot that way.
Yeah.
And because he always does that thing that he did for Milner's, where he just sort of goes down on his knees. Like, I can't dive that way, lad.
That's not fair. It's cheating. That's cheating.
Stop
Don't do that.
Yeah.
No, it was the goal that made the game at that point. You knew that the 3 points were coming home with us, but there was a certainty about it certainly from when Milner scored. But I think in general Liverpool respond really well to the goal that they concede. There's a good bit of barracking of the referee immediately afterwards that I was banging to, even though it didn't elicit anything. But it looked to me like there was a couple of footballers on the pitch who were mad as hell and weren't going to take it anymore. And from the minute Milner scores, I just think to myself, you know what, there's only one way this is going.
Yeah, which is actually really nice to think, isn't it? Because we've not felt like that in the past. I agree with you on the ref break thing as well, except there's always something to be gained from it. Whenever people we've had this conversation, Neil, I love these talks about what does that do, and people will go, well, you're not going to change the referee's mind. Well, sometimes you do, actually. Sometimes you do change the referee's mind.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Exactly, great example. And the rest of the time, it does have some impact because it affects things around you. Even if it's just, we're really pissed off because he had that in his hands.
Yep.
So now that's going to spur us on to do a bit more. So yeah, it does do something. And yeah, I don't think it can be underestimated how big a comeback that is and how strong it is. And we were dominant. Once we scored, I was looking at it thinking, this is quietly probably one of our best performances now for this sort of 20 to 25 minutes.
Manager was lined up to make his changes. Milner scored, and he still makes them. He doesn't tell them to sit back down. He doesn't just do one. He just goes, you know what, I was going to do this anyway. Because I refuse to believe that the changes he makes wasn't the change he was going to make anyway when it was 1-0. I think he's gone. It was the right thing to do at 1-0. It's now 1-1. It remains the right thing to do.
Yeah, and well, it's funny as well because I'm generally critical of Klopp and his ability to make good substitutions. And I was sort of laughing at myself last night because I was a kid. Because the footage I was watching, the commentary was like, great substitutions. And I laughed to myself thinking, it's probably easy to make great substitutions when you've got great players to bring on, isn't it?
Yep.
When you can, and that's it. Like, so you can compare Klopp with Guardiola and go, well, Guardiola's better at subs. You're like, is he though?
Because every game...
Can he just bring on amazing subs all the time? Whereas Klopp's doing what Rodgers used to do sometimes, where he's like, bring on Moreno. Like, you're unlikely to pull that off as a great substitution, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas when you can bring on Firmino and Salah. You might have heard me give this example before. I always remember a Man United substitution in like the Ferguson heyday when I think it was 0-0 at Old Trafford. They were playing some sort of lower table side and they were doing well and they were battling and there was just this shot of Ferguson making a sub and the camera angle was from behind the players coming on and it was just Keane and Beckham side by side and you could see the players of the opposition just going, oh, for fuck's sake. And you can imagine that last night, can't you? You're like, we've been doing all right here.
We're still in this.
Sub, who's coming on? Salah for me.
Yeah, we're still in this, lads. Jack Cork, covering more ground than any man ever should have to.
Any human,
And it's like, Come on, lads. Yeah. Come on, have a think about this. Sturridge was... We'll come on to Keita in a minute, because I think Keita was outfield man of the match and he was great fun to watch. But Sturridge, it was such a lovely, strange little game from him where he went from, I was like, wait, we just can't get Sturridge in this. Sturridge can't get himself in this. What are we going to do? Oh, he's Pablo Aimar. that was the journey that I went on. It was like, oh, I'd maybe do Sturridge here, maybe I'd do him. Oh, it transpires he's the best number 10 ever.
Yeah, incredible. Exactly the same. I think maybe they were all just doing it. Maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe it was, we'll just get to 60. They'll think they're in it and then we'll do this. It'll be magic. And you're like, yeah, great. He was brilliant. And again, last half hour, I don't know, when he plays like that, it is almost, should we just do this should we just forget that you were ever that main striker and we'll just do this now? Because you're really good at this. Especially when the others are in the form they're in and in that sort of mood.
I think you give them runners and you give them options, and all of a sudden it just changes everything. Yeah. And also those runners and those options become a bit like, well, there's every chance he finds me here. That ball for Salah, I think it's a really interesting pass, the ball for Salah that leads to the Shaqiri goal. Because I think it's exactly the sort of pass. Do you remember when they used to say, the best crosser of the ball in the Premier League is? It's Alan Shearer. Because he knows exactly where Alan Shearer wants to head it from and the angle he wants to head it from. Yeah. The Sturridge ball to Salah is exactly the sort of ball that Sturridge would have loved to have received, in that it doesn't look like a Xabi Alonso pass, but it just completely bamboozles the defender who's got it's almost like he's lost in a film. Like there's something somewhere, something's about to come.
Well, I think the brilliant thing about it as well is when he plays that pass that way the first time, I'm thinking, why are you doing that? But what he's basically doing, and passes like this are phenomenal, and this is where, when you watch players and you think, I'm not sure they're any better than me. and then you watch players and you're like, oh yeah, that would never even cross my mind. It's a pass that says to the fella you're passing to what to do next.
Yeah.
I'm doing it this, mate, so you can just knock it over his head. Yeah. This is dead easy now. And Salah's like, yeah, I get that. Well in. So yeah, really good.
He does. He says, this is your next pass. He passes it in a way which says, this is your next pass. And by the way, that fella's now completely lost. He doesn't know where he is. He just knows you're much faster than him.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen it before. Like, he's actually an amazing... It's been, again, underestimated. He's massive. He's a massively effective passer of the ball. There was one I think it was the derby, where Firmino cleaned through and Sturridge just takes an extra half a second to go, that's the pass.
Yeah.
Plays him in, and it gets forgotten because Firmino hasn't got the pace to break away and we don't score from it. But yeah, fantastic pass of a ball.
Feels like Keita's arrived. For 55 minutes against Devon, it felt like Fabinho had properly arrived, putting Red Star performances to one side. And then he clearly tired in the game. But that doesn't mean he won't be back for Bournemouth. I really hope he is back for Bournemouth, Fabinho, to build on that performance, because I think it's important. I think the main thing he now needs is match fitness and to get used to what this is. Keita, though, there was a little bit of an example I always bore on about. There was a little bit of Torres at Reading, I thought, where he was a bit like, what, these are your ALOS lads, are they? These are the best you've got? Well, that sounds, I'll just do a bit of this then. For me, it was a little bit of, this is actually quite easy if I just do a bit more of this sort of thing.
Yeah, we've seen it, we saw it with Coutinho as well, didn't we, where they just have that moment where it's like, I can just run there, and you can't stop. Okay, it was. I don't know whether you've seen the Klopp post-match press conference as well. And I often love thinking about. We all talk about footy like it's this dead complicated thing, and I just think I love it when there's times when it's not. It's dead simple. And something Klopp said at half time, we said to everyone, stop kicking it over Naby's head. Basically, like you just keep kicking it over his head, and he's like, well, what about me? And so we just basically started giving it to Naby more. And I love the way it's like, there was a tweak of tactics at half time. Yeah, what was it? We just said give it to Naby more. Yeah. You're like, oh, I've been in teams where we do that. What should we do? Just give it to that lad. He's brilliant.
Should we just give it to our best player all the time?
What will he do then? He'll beat three men and put it in the top corner. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now I look well better.
It feels like a way home. Yeah. What I liked about the team was Sturridge in there as well. And listen, that was a break glass thing, so we're not going to see something like this all the time. But what I liked about it was it felt to me there was phased getting up the pitch and always having the ball. So it was never a kitchen sink thing, but you had Van Dijk and Milner. They were feeding it into Henderson. Henderson was finding a way to get it to a combination of Keita, Sturridge or Shaqiri. Yeah. Sturridge, Keita, Shaqiri, getting it to the front two. And it just seemed to me to be eminently sensible. This is a perfectly, for the first time this season, I think I think we played really well at times, but I think that's a game, that last half an hour, where we play through the lines really nicely. We just play through. There's going to be space here. You're going to do this. At times, you're going to have to go a little bit sideways, but then you're going to get it back because something's opened up. Yeah. I think it helped that they'd tired because they'd put everything into that first hour. Yeah. But it was nice to see Liverpool just go through those gears a little bit like, oh no, actually, we're just 80 yards further up the pitch now, lads, than we were 4 seconds ago.
Yeah, definitely. And also nice to have been able to do that with so many players involved that aren't usually involved. Yeah. And it's easy. I think it's easy to sort of criticise the first hour and say, well, it wasn't really working and stuff. And be like, well, but it did, didn't it? Because that was the whole point. These lads are not going to come in. Klopp said himself, they're going to be rusty. They haven't played for a while. And there's loads of Liverpool fans or football fans in general who just expect pro footballers to be able to, or sports people generally, to come in and just perform at the highest level that they can, even when they haven't played for ages. One of my favourite ones ever was, I've told you this before, when at the match when Martin Kelly was coming back from like a 1 year layoff ages ago, as he came on, the fella behind me shouted, "Don't be rusty, Martin." I'm not sure. You
can't choose.
I'm not sure it works like that, mate. You can't just go, all right, thanks, mate. So yeah, it was noticeable, wasn't it, that was what they were doing. Even if you look back, it'd be really interesting to see the stats for Henderson to Keita passes. And there was lots of sort of round the corner, little clever passes where it's like he's looked up and he's gone, where can I go? Oh, Naby's there, I'll just give it to him. Yeah. So same sort of thing, but when that's purposeful, you can sort of see it happening. Yeah, really good.
Really good indeed. Fantastic stuff. We did a great post-match show last night. That audio is available for you if you want that. There was a post-match pint. It was the business as well. Give that a look. Give that a listen. Come with us for £5 a month. Today, we're going to be getting a review of that out ASAP. I'm doing that at 12:30. That's not really relevant to you because by the time this comes out, it's probably 12:30 anyway. But that'll be out as quickly as humanly possible. We've got a really good Friday show lined up as well to look ahead to the weekend's action. We're excited about that. We're rattling right the way through the weekend. It'll be out first thing tomorrow morning as a bit of free audio. Looking back at Burnley and looking ahead to Bournemouth and doing some of the bits and pieces as well. It's the business, it's the Anfield Wrap, it's £5 a month. If you haven't subscribed, you should, because we want to be at the centre of enjoying the act of supporting Liverpool from the heart of the city. See you in a bit.